Hey everyone, I'm Northern Queen Alexis and welcome back to the channel. Today we are answering all of your questions, but first, if you want your question answered in the comment section down below, make sure you write the word question followed by your question. So, let's get into today's question, shall we? Can you go over why the Sisters of Battle are superior to the Space Marines and vice versa? So this is something that I often say as more of a joke to piss off the 40K fans. It's a lot of fun to just troll with this joke. Oh, Horus took 70 years to take the Imperium, or random time period depending on what edition it is and what they decide to change it to at the time. But Sisters of Battle did it in like 10 days. Sisters of Battle conquered Terra. Sisters of Battle play better on the tabletop and are currently, I think, at a higher tier than Space Marines. So I constantly make the joke that Sisters are better than Space Marines. But let's actually break this down, because I legit do have some belief to this. So Sisters of Battle, first, I'm jumping all over the place because I'm excited about this question. Space Marines. Space Marines at peak are 1,250,000 Marines in the entire galaxy. And this comes from the source that says that there are 1,000 canon chapters within Warhammer 40K, and this has been referenced multiple times through editions and everything, or at least there's 1,000. There's probably more now with the Primaris Space Marines and bringing back old and dead chapters, so there's probably more, but we're going to go off of pre-Primaris Marines just to get the number. And you know what? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say that there's 2,500,000 Marines at any one time. How did we get this number? Well, it turns out that each chapter has 1,000 members, not counting the commandery, which could include tech priests, chaplains, and all sorts of support troops like dreadnoughts and other varying novitiates and things of that nature. Not novitiates, people being trained for the specific fields. Like you don't count, I forget what they're called, like tech marines compared to Masters of the Forge. There can be thousands of tech marines in a chapter. They don't count towards the chapter's numbers. I know it's weird, but they don't. Okay? So I always estimate that they have 250,000 for support for all of their vehicles, their maintenance, their chapels, and all sorts of other things like their librarius and things of that nature. So that's how we got the number. All right? We got the number now. 1,250. Then we have 1,000 chapters, which brings it up to over 1,000,000 Marines. Now let's double it because of Primaris Marines. So we got 2,500,000. Okay, that's a good number. Look, Jurassic Park glass. I just splashed that all over my face. Yep, that just happened. This is my painting rag. You see how dirty it is? This is paint. Anywho, so 2,500,000 for the entire galaxy. All right, that's a good number. That's a very low number. That's an extremely low number, especially needing Space Marines. Like 2 million Space Marines wouldn't even be enough to take a planet, realistically, and Space Marines would die trying to take like Earth or something. And we've gone over this in my Everything Wrong series. So, Sisters of Battle, on the other hand, according to the newest codex, have crusades, which include 10 companies of sisters. 10 companies of sisters is 1,000 sisters each. So, one crusade is over 1,000,000 sisters. Crusades can be issued 10 at a time, meaning that at minimum, the Sister Battle Orders are 10 million. Okay? Now, I do have a theory that once they get to a certain height, they split into 2 chapters, or 2 orders. And we've seen this with other orders and the origins of Martyred Lady versus Ebon Chalice and versus Ardent Shroud and things of that nature. So, at minimum, we have 6 million sisters, and there are thousands of orders. There's no limitation to how many orders there could be. And there is 1,000,000 planets, and each sector has at least 1 battalion of sisters or 1 crusade of sisters at any one point. So there's over 1,000,000 different orders of sisters. including one that's a fangirl off of Dante, and I think that's really funny and not explored. And that is canon, by the way. There are Dante fangirl sisters of battle. It's awesome. Okay, so we're looking at over 100 million sisters versus 2,500,000 Space Marines. Now, you may say, Space Marines have better equipment. Well, Sisters of Battle can buy all of their equipment from Mars, which has all of the STCs that Space Marines have, and they have access to almost everything aside from like the newer tanks, which are just made on Space Marine forges, because Belisarius Cawl doesn't trust Forge Worlds, and only very particular forge Land Raiders, Spartans, and things like that. But in Sisters of Battle lore, they do have access to Thunderhawks, they have access to Storm Ravens, Land Speeders, drop pods, and yes, they do have drop pods. Shut the fuck up. I'm not arguing with this, whether or not a Sister of Battle can survive. There is anti-gravity inside a drop pod. Anyone can survive a drop pod. That's what they're fucking meant for. Anyway, that aside, because I get into that argument all the time, but that aside, Sisters of Battle have tons of war gear that isn't represented in their codex. So Bolter matches Bolter. The Sister of Battle power armor is superior to that of the Space Marines power armor, aside from the Primaris Space Marine armor, which actually took designs from the Sister of Battle power armor, because the Sister Pattern power armor had an infinite core and never ran out of power, versus the Space Marine one, which could only last a week, unless the Space Marine is highly strained, and then it's going to take a lot more energy for that suit to run and operate, and that's why older suits of power armor are actually trash. But because Space Marines are nationalists, psychopathic fascists, they constantly keep their old armors and things and venerate them and think they're magical, where Sisters of Battle are quick to adapt to new technologies, switch out, and their lore is very inconsistent, so they can just add anything into it. But it's not even the fact that the Sisters of Battle simply outnumber Space Marines 10-1 with very similar war gear and better tanks, because Sisters of Battle can actually bring heavy tanks versus Space Marines light tanks, where they have some heavy tanks. But Sisters of Battle have the Castigator, which is just the better of the Predator. Actually, that's a medium tank. The Lehman Russ is the heavy tank. But Sisters of Battle also have access to the Imperial Navy. The Imperial Navy has the Avenger Strike Fighter, which Sisters of Battle have access to, and for the longest time had in their codex. And then for some reason, GW decided to take it out, even though I bought 3 of them, with the sole reason of running them with my sisters. And then GW's like, hey, Alexis, you're not allowed to have fun. Go fuck yourself. And I was like, wow, rude. I'm going to use these with my Space Marines in 30K. And they're like, well, shit, okay. But anyway, Sisters of Battle outnumber Space Marines 10-1. They have better equal war gear in terms of like matching unit to unit. Sisters of Battle also have dreadnoughts. This is just something from older lore that's a holdover from 2nd, 3rd edition, that they just have dreadnoughts. They just don't use them. And Imperial Guard also have dreadnoughts. That's a thing. Dreadnoughts were not exclusive to Space Marines for the longest time. And in more modern lore, they're still not exclusive to Space Marines because it's never been retconned that other armies can't have them. But that all said, Sisters of Battle with the Imperial Navy as an asset to them have longer range firepower and better ships than the Space Marines, which are meant for close quarters engagements and boarding actions. Nova cannons at extreme range beat any type of army that the Space Marines can have. And it always boils down to who's taking you to the battle, which is where most of these battles are going to be decided. If I can kill an entire chapter of Space Marines before they even arrive on a planet, you best believe I'm going to. And even when they arrive on the planet, my ships are going to fly away from the planet and just get range on your ships and just ping them until they are dead. So that way you're stuck on the planet itself. And Sisters of Battle know Space Marines and actually typically don't like them. They view them as angels, but some chapters and some orders view Space Marines as mutants and think that they should be exterminated. So Sisters of Battle know a great deal about Space Marines. Not only do they know great deals about Space Marines, they know about their anatomy, and they have Inquisitors backing them up. So they have the Church, the Inquisition, and the Imperial Navy helping them versus Space Marines. That's why I think Space Marines are just not as good. Also, Space Marines are written like tissue paper. Like if you really sit down and read the Horus Heresy book series, Space Marines die like nothing. They die in the thousands to bolter fire. So Sisters of Battle doing it just makes sense. Also, Sisters of Battle faith can keep up with Space Marine genetics. And I don't need to go into detail about this. You're already arguing with me as it is. But if you look at the launch trailer for 8th edition, the Sister Superior that was shot with a Gauze Blast simply prayed it away, and then with that same hand held a power sword to block a Strength 8 attack, which in the very next scene killed a Space Marine. A Primaris Space Marine doing the exact same block killed him. So faith can match physical augmentation. And not only that, their faith can actually spawn more living saints, more powers of belief, and they are just better than Space Marines when it comes to taking on demons. Space Marines are meant as shock and awe troops, not as an army. They are meant to assist an army, and that's what they're used for in the current lore. They go out in great numbers in war. This is true, like if you look at the Indominus Crusade. But if you read closer into the Indominus Crusade and actually look at the numbers and everything and really look into it, Space Marines are always doing countermeasures. And that's what they're meant to do. Like what happened when, I think it was Nox was attacked, the Garden World in Plague Wars. When it was attacked, they already had garrisons of Imperial troops on there defending the planet. Then they brought in more. Then they brought in the Ecclesiarchy. Then they brought in the Space Marines. It wasn't the Space Marines that launched the first attack. It was the Space Marines that tried to clean up and let the armies go through. Because that's what Space Marines are meant to do. They break lines and then retreat. And then they break a line and then retreat. And they constantly assist other armies for pushing through. This is why Sisters of Battle are such a great complement to Space Marines, similar to how Custodians have Sisters of Silence. Sisters of Silence can fight underneath a Custodian and can fight faster than a Custodian. Actually, it's more or less at the same speed, but they can fight extremely fast and much faster than a Space Marine, and they're very good at chopping them down. So, do I think in a war between the Sisters of Battle and Space Marines who would win? Sisters of Battle have already won. They took down the Imperium. And it was only because of Gorge Van Dyer that they lost. So yeah. Whew, that was a lot of explanations. And I apologize, and I could be wrong on a few things. I want your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you vote for the Melta Maidens or the Space Marines? I want to see those two answers in the comments down below. Whether you pick Team Space Marines or Team Melta Maidens. Let's go. Again, if you guys have questions, please leave your questions in the comments down below. As always, Nerd Queen Alexis. I love you guys. Bye.